Wayne Charles Baker, Vancouver, June 5th, 56. I grew up in North Shore, and that's, of course, where the famous North Shore Indians come from, 1930s. And the Bakers were on the team, and a lot of players from the East Coast were on this team. But I grew up playing junior, the North Shore Indians, for my father, who was very instrumental in keeping lacrosse alive on the North Shore, Dan Baker. And I played juniors, and then I moved up to seniors. My brother took over the team, the North Shore Indians, and the Baker family, I guess we would say. So I played with the North Shore Indians till 1981 was the last, and then 82 I started playing. Actually what happened was I quit drinking. There's a story there too, but anyway, so I played for the Vancouver Burrards for 2 years, senior A, and then from there I went back to the North Shore Indians for a few years, and we won the '85 President's Cup. And then from there I went to play for the Nanaimo Timbermen for 2 years because they were hosting the President's Cup, and they picked me off the North Shore Indians to go play with them. We didn't quite win that one. We lost that one. We came second. We lost in the final. And then '91, like I said before, I went out and played pro for the Canadian league that was trying to start a pro league at the time, and they had a team in Buffalo. So I said, well, this is probably the only time I'm going to play pro at my age. And I think I was already 36 or something like that. I said I might as well go. So I got drafted, and then I went with them guys. And of course, all the players there I knew were Barry Paulus and Jeff Gill, and we were already older already then, but we had a fairly good team. Then came back, and then '92 started playing for North Shore again, '91, '92 season. And then '92 we kind of almost got there. I think our coach was too rough on us. He trained us too hard. So we fired him, and I took over as player coach. And I basically did all the recruiting for my team, and then recruited a lot of players off the senior A team, and then we built a team for '93 to host the President's Cup, which we won, '93. So that was kind of one of my best moments, building a team to win a cup and be a player on it. And then in '94, we put a bid in to go senior A for the North Shore Indians, and then we got it. So now we had a senior A team to work on and build. And we started out our season, we were okay. We didn't lose, we lost, but we weren't good enough because we'd lose 8-4 and, stuff like that. So I'm thinking in my head, we need to get 4 more goals here somehow, or 5 or 6. So I'm starting to look for players. So I used to fly out here with my GM to Buffalo and watch the nil games in Toronto and do my recruiting. So I go talk to players and start picking up guys and start building a team. And we got better and better. And now we weren't the basement. We were contenders for the Mann Cup. And then I think my best signing was Paul Gate, and it's funny and how I recruited him. I was just sitting there and I thought they were just finishing. They just won the Mann Cup in New West, and so I phoned him in his hotel room. He answers, and I say, Paul, I said, would you like to come play for the North Shore Indians? And I offered him. I gave him an offer, right? I said, well, this is what you're going to get, and you only have to play 4 games to get to be eligible for playoffs. We'll fly you and get those 4 and be ready for playoffs. Said, yeah, sure, I'm in. It was that easy. And I thought, holy. But that was the closest we got to that Mann Cup. But we were supposed to get his brother Gary, and then Paul said he had him. He said, you sure? He said, no, don't worry about it. I got him. Paul was a really nice guy. I really liked it. He was, he was down to earth. He no big head or nothing. He was a great. Anyway, he says, no, I got him. Because Gary was key to getting that Man Cup. And so I let him go at it for 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, he signs with the Shamrocks. And then I was like, damn. So we ended up playing them in the final, in the Shamrocks. And of course, we lost, and they won, and they went on and won the Man Cup. And I was like, damn. So I think I ran that team for 5 or 6 years. And actually played, probably the only president and a player that ever played on a team at the time near the end. But president, and so I sold the team, left it, and then went back to the North Shore Indians, Senior B. They were building a team. And this is a funny story, because in '99, they were building a team, the North Shore Indians, so my cousin and myself went over to go play for them, and they said, no, you're too old. You guys are too old. So Burnaby was hosting the cup, and as soon as they found that out, Burnaby snatched myself and my cousin up, and we went over to Burnaby and helped build them a team, because we knew what North Shore was like. I said, no, and the manager always asked me a question, who should we get? And I picked that guy up, sign that guy. And he would call me, should I sign this guy? Sign him. and we ended up beating them in the final. And this is why I got the green ring. And they were so pissed. They were mad, but hey, you know what I mean? Like I said, 85 this is the one that was the triple overtime with the Norsemen, Orangeville. And then 93 is when we won it. And this is what I tell you, the 99 was the Burnaby Bandits when North Shore didn't want us, said we're too old. So that one, that's funny, my cousin, after he won this one, he's riding around our reserve in a limo, holding the trophy up through the top of the window, just rubbing it right. That's how he was, right? He was a competitor. And this one is, of course, the last one in 2001 when we won that. We didn't lose a game. I think we were 6-0, and we built a good team. But yeah, so we always stress defense, and how we started off was building our defense first, no matter what. And I learned my defense playing with the Vancouver Burrards in '82, and that's when I became a complete player, I thought, because I was always an offensive player. And then once I started learning how to play defense, I kind of relished that, because now I'm going against their best players and shutting them down. And that's when I think you become a complete player, right? And I don't like this offense-defense anymore. I really don't like it, because they run out, they run off. They're only playing half the floor. And I'm like, I don't know. It's not the way we used to play, and I don't like it. That was the first 1980 World Box Lacrosse Championship. And I was going to tell you, that was one of my probably best experiences in lacrosse. One of my highlights, I would say. And that was, the teams that were involved were Canada East, which I heard were the Brooklyn Redmen at the time. And then Canada West, which were the Coquitlam Adnaks at the time. And then USA, and then Australia, and then us, the North American natives. And then they said, I remember reading the paper that was just right up, favored Canada East, Canada West should be there, USA should be third. The dark horse of the tournament was the North American natives. And so we started out, and we had some good coaching. Mr. Ross Paulus came out from the East with couple of other coaches and their team. So we had a 2-game series against our team, the North Shore Indians. It was coached by Ronnie Pinder. It's a famous name out in the West. And then, so we had the 2-game series. The North Shore Indians won 1, and they won 1. So they picked 6 players off our team, or 6 or 7, and put them on that team. And then we had a couple of Paulus boys playing for us then too, Ross's boys, Darryl Paulus and Harry Paulus. So we had good players, but we didn't realize how good we were. You know, you're young, you didn't know how good you were. You're up against these teams. So we ended up getting to the semifinal. Brooklyn Redmond, or Canada East, when we had a game against them, it was a shootout. It was 18-17. It was like a boom, 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 back and forth, and there were so many penalties, and actually our ref got attacked by the Brooklyn Redmond player. And that was a big game. Everywhere we played, we sold out the North American Indians. It was because they wanted to see the Indians play. And then, so we ended up playing Canada East in the semifinal. So now our defense is starting to get better. We're using a defense. I'll get to that in a minute. And then we ended up beating them 14-9. And this was a shock, right? Everybody's, oh my God, they beat the best team in the East 14-9, and they're only supposed to be all senior B players, maybe a couple of pros. So anyways, we get to the final in the Pacific Coliseum, and there was about 7,000-8,000 fans there, so that was a big crowd for lacrosse back then. And, you know, it was exciting. You're going in the Pacific Coliseum, right? Like, I was 22 years old or something like that. We get in there, and the end of first period was 6-5. And this is where we got royally screwed. They said we were using an illegal defense. What? Illegal defense? Ooh, this is what we were told. And he said, if you keep using it, we're going to call you on it. So the second period starts. Blow the whistle, we got a penalty. We keep playing it. Blow the whistle, we got another penalty. So we end up losing 16-11. And that was kind of like, you know, at the time I was kind of young, but I didn't really think about it. But later on, what happened, my brother Frank, who was the general manager, he said the ref that was coaching, ref in that game, came up and apologized. And this is like 10 years later. He said, I really apologize for that. I wanted to make amends. He said, but this was came from up above. This is the stuff we had to deal with playing like out there. That's why I got out of the WLA at the time, because it just, I was always trying to screw us around. Well, I didn't play with them, but I eventually played against him. Of course, the famous Gaylord Paulus. And actually, you know, I thought about it coming here today. My dad used to always have a camera. But anyways, he took some videotapes of Gaylord when he was younger. But he came out here, and I think he was playing for Peterborough maybe at the time in the Man Cup against the Vancouver Burrards. And I was only about like 13, 14, maybe 15. And I knew who Gaylord was, right? He was kind of like my hero for lacrosse player back then. And then my dad brought me down to his dressing room. You know, he just goes down there and brings me down there, and he says, walks in the dressing room. I still see it today. Gaylord laying on a big bench or a table, getting a massage. She's getting work. He looks over, and it's me and my dad. He says, oh, hey, Dan, how you doing? Come on in. And he sat there, and I'm just standing there looking at him. He's getting a massage. Just his ginch on or whatever it was, a towel, I can't remember, but he was there getting a massage. And then I actually ended up taking them fishing after they finished. I got them in between. We brought them down to the river and gaffing, because we used to gaff salmon with gaff hooks, call them slip jigs. And I brought them down to the river and I showed them where the fish were. And one comes shooting down. And I said, just gaff it like that, like you're picking up a lacrosse ball. He caught it. And he was so proud and happy with that thing. I even think I got a picture on that movie. It's an old, real movie. I think I don't know what you would call it. Him holding it up like that. And it was a big chum salmon, about 15 pounds. So that was, yeah, Gaylord. And then eventually when I was younger, I started playing in the Nations Cup. I was probably about 16, 17, and I played against them. We were just young junior players. And I remember playing in, I think it was Brantford, against them in one of the games. And we lost, but it wasn't a wipeout, right? It was close. But they were pretty brutal. They slashed and hacked the hell out of me, even when I was literally right in my arms and everything. They wanted to kill me out there for some reason. I think it was just like how Gretzky would play, right? You know, anybody on the floor that always sees the play developing beforehand, not running down there in a panic with your blinders on. You're always looking, seeing what's happening and who's coming around, who's coming, and you kind of see where a play is coming up. And he always said, I think he said, or somebody said, his shot was on the run. You know, on a run going crossways, so he would shoot and it would almost float into the corners. And I think it's just his play, his ability to see the floor well, and playmaking skills and scoring skills. Well, I just like to add that, you know, I see a lot of young players playing, and I wish I had the opportunity back there to be able to have a scholarship and play lacrosse in a university, college. But I see it all around now that there's so many kids from here going 2 years that I've been here, and I say that's a great thing. And there's even a couple of players on my reserve out west are playing out here now, in the colleges, getting their education and stuff. And I think that's a great thing for just to get a scholarship to play lacrosse, you know. But and that for even the younger players that are still playing, that, you know, the alcohol and drugs don't mix with lacrosse. You got to stay away from that totally, and to become the best you can be. I mean, that was my motto. And when I was growing up, I didn't realize my confidence wasn't as high as after I quit drinking, because I always thought I can never play that level, because I just didn't think so until I quit drinking. You know, like I said, as soon as I quit drinking, I played senior A, and then realized, hey, I'm just as good as these guys and even better. Yeah.